he goes on like an unskippable cutscene for an excessively long time, you gotta like call it.
I'm not going to do that though.
Why don't y'all
Like,
just
no,
do like
free to
a
go. I don't
minimum
agree to
timing?
that.
Why don't
You
y'all
don't
just do
agree to
like a
that?
minimum
Yeah,
timing?
no, I don't agree that if I start to talk for 30 seconds,
Okay,
then I'm going to
do,
get muted.
do we want
I
to
didn't say
do
30
we want to do
seconds.
like
Yeah,
a
that's why
specific
I'm
time? Do we
saying
want to
that,
do?
idiot.
Okay,
I don't trust
Then
free
why
to
would you
go's
go
judgment
get?
to. Yeah, I
Okay,
was
real
about to
quick.
answer the question, but to answer your question real
Oh my
quick, I'm
god.
sorry, free to go. Hold on. The reason why I said 30 seconds is because I don't trust free to go's judgment within a specific instance. But yeah, can we please start? Like, what are
Sure.
we waiting
Okay,
on?
can we do this though? Can we do this though? Can we do like talk fucking what's it called? Talking stick, and everybody gets 3 minute talking time just so it
No,
doesn't go back and
no.
forth.
We
Jesus,
can do talking
bro.
stick off the rip,
No.
bro. Like, let's just go, bro. This is doing too much. Just you can do talking stick right now. Just mute him. So it's the case that when he was running away within the live, I just defined God as some entity in which metaphysically exists. Necessarily speaking, he asked me what I meant by existence. Existence is just talking about having semantical content. You can have different modes of existence, obviously speaking. He gave or posed a question which was talking about whether or not a rock has semantical content. And to answer his question, yes, all existence is some word in which describes some second order feature of an entity. Like, obviously, so it's the case that we can say that rocks have features that we can apply to it, meaning that we can describe it. What's the response?
Yeah, so I want to clarify. Are you defining existence as something which has semantical content, or are you saying that is true of existing things that they have semantical content and that satisfies the sufficient condition to exist? The first
Second.
one or the second
What's
one?
the response?
The second one. Okay, so then answer my question, which is what is existence? I understand what you're saying is a sufficient condition to exist. I want to understand what you mean by exist. So, for
It's
example,
irrelevant.
like it's not irrelevant because it's relevant. It establishes what exactly the criteria is for you to meet in order to prove the proposition.
Yeah,
So it is relevant.
I defined it within the law. So just to exist is to be an entity in which poses the condition we're talking about. So if you actualize the condition as an entity, it's the case that you exist. And the condition, as we clarified, is just to have semantical content.
Yeah, no, but I just asked you a clarifying question and it contradicts what you just said because instead of saying, yes, this is what existence means, you just said, no, it's not what existence means, but it's a condition which, if met, is sufficient to establish something as existing. And so I want to clarify what exactly existence is. I
Wait,
understand you think
just to
that's a simple. Why
clarify.
are you interrupting me?
Go ahead.
Relax. So I'm just going to, yeah, so I just want to clarify. Given that you're taking a view that God exists and you define it necessary, whatever existence, it's under your conception of that, is existence being taken there to include Magnolian objects? Yes or no?
Well, for the second thing, that's kind of irrelevant. If it fits under the condition I'm talking about, it's the case that they exist. But to answer your first question, maybe you're stupid. There's a distinction between having semantical content and being an entity in which poses semantical content. So it's the case that to answer your question, all existence means is to have semantical content as an entity. Now, there's a sufficient condition in which exists, I apologize, and which is established for existence, which is to pose semantical content. Those are two separate things. Being an entity in which has semantical content, and then a condition which is correlated to existence being having semantical content are two different things. But yes, God exists as some metaphysically necessary entity in a way in which it's talking about him having semantical content, meaning he actualizes the condition, and it's the case that he exists in all metaphysical possible worlds. Okay, so can you please respond to the point?
Okay, so first thing is that I asked you a question, and in response to the yes or no question, you just said it's irrelevant and didn't answer it. It is relevant. Why is it relevant? Because it establishes the kind of metaphysical weight in the argument. You're trying to establish the necessary existence of something, but the thing you're trying to establish, you're dodging whether or not that thing you're trying to argue for is metaphysically robust, which of course is relevant to the existence of it being God, because obviously you think it's causally affectatious. But if you think that it's causally affectatious and also it's relaxedly real, then that's going to be a problem. So I don't want you to dodge my question and say it's irrelevant. It's entirely relevant. I just explained it to you. I don't want you to go on any of the ramble you just went on. Yes or no, under your semantics for existence, does that include a Magnolian object?
Yeah, to answer your question real quick, which was obviously answered from the live as well. Obviously exists metaphysically, or I apologize. He's a metaphysical robust being. I said this within the live. For the second thing, you just did not respond. You said I didn't track the question that I gave originally, or that you gave originally. I answered both questions. You just couldn't track the answer adequately speaking. You were conflating the two. And just to clarify once again, so we know that this is something which is established, to be an entity in which actualizes a condition is distinct from the condition itself. So existence is talking about some entity in which actualizes the condition, and then the condition is obviously going to be independent of an entity in which actualizes the condition. So an entity has some application of the condition applied to itself. That is what it means to exist. Obviously, it's an entity in which has that establishment, and then a sufficient condition to exist is going to be the condition which is independent of the entity itself, because the condition obviously exists outside the entity. If we're just talking about the condition, because the condition can exist in potency rather than actualization. But I don't really care about the beliefs that you're trying to say that my claim presupposes or establishes. You can clarify anything that you want to clarify later on. But go ahead.
All right, yeah, that was a lot of rambling and a lot of misuse of terms that you probably don't understand. But now that I think you said, no, God is not a Magnolian object, I'll just hold you to that throughout your argument. So just give me the argument that establishes that God exists.
I'm sorry, you said that there was a lot of misusage when it comes to the terms that I was establishing. You can't name a single misuse of a term. Secondly speaking, I said that God is metaphysically robust. It is the case that God exists mind independently. So can you please send the arguments in it? Like you're gonna lose to the same argument that you lost to last time. It's simple.
How are you going
Thank
to
you,
say
sir.
that God's a set of contingent things? Is that what you're going to say?
Are you gonna clarify what I said within the recording after that? Or are you just gonna keep on trying to
Yeah,
misuse what
dude,
I said?
I bet the recording of that, I bet the continuance of that recording will make you look really good. Yeah, you're
It
right.
really did. It like destroyed you badly.
That's why you lost polls in judgment, right? Because it looked good. You
One,
said
there
it
was
was.
no judge. Secondly, I won polls and consensus.
You did not want
Yes, I
consensus.
did.
What are you talking about?
Consensus on
Anyway,
Trix's
just give
channel.
the give me the
Same
argument,
the
dude.
same way you
Just
lost
give
the
the
second
argument,
debate on
dude.
ethics. You got
Just give the
destroyed.
argument,
We're
dude.
obviously
Just give
waiting
the
for Zinni to
argument, dude.
send the argument in chat.
Oh, is that your boyfriend giving you the argument? Is that what's happening?
No, it's my friend who's sending me an argument. I'm not gay like you and everybody
Is
else
your
in your
friend a
comment.
boy? Is your friend a boy, Infinity?
No, my friend is a girl, retard. Are you stupid?
Oh, it's your girlfriend's giving you the argument?
No, it's not my girlfriend.
All right, bro. Just tell your girlfriend to hurry up.
Sure, I can send my friend as a girl. Like,
Yo, can Infinity's girl get this argument in the DMs, please? Can we get it to him immediately? Is GPT lagging or something? Let's get
it's
this
not gonna
solution on the
be in the
road.
DMs, by the way. Like, you're not rhetorical at all. Like, he always sends the argument. I don't know why you're trying to
Yo,
do
you
this.
didn't even have an argument prepared? Are you
I have the
serious?
argument prepared. I just want it typed out in chat so you can read, because obviously you can't
Oh,
track given what happened within this conversation prior.
you have it prepared, but your girl's writing it out for you right now.
I have it prepared verbally. I don't have it prepared within chat. It's not
Oh,
him writing it out or her writing it
just
out.
verbally give the argument while
No,
your girl
obviously
writes
you
it
have a
out.
problem with keeping up with what I'm saying, verbally speaking. So he's going to send a typed out version. Obviously, I just said that.
She's gonna send it typed out.
Yeah, she's trans.
So
I
it's
call
he
it
and
a he
she.
or she.
Your girl is
Yeah, the
transgender,
pronouns are he or
Infinity.
she. You said what?
Your girl is transgender.
My friend is transgender, yes, but
Yeah,
this
bro.
is going to
You
be
do
like some
not.
informal lineup. I'm sorry, please stop cutting me off. It's going to be some informal lineup real quick. If the totality of contingents is actualized by contingent existence, then this contradicts the totality. P2, the totality of contingents is actualized by contingent existence. C, therefore, this contradicts the totality. What that means to say, obviously, this establishes God's existence because we're saying if it's the case that some totality actualizes itself, that would be a contradiction because the totality would actualize itself pre-existence, meaning it has to be something which is not a part of the totality, which would be a non-contingent being. In other words, some necessary being. And we're talking about this metaphysical. I'm sorry, please stop cutting me off. We're talking about this
I'm not cutting you
metaphysical
off, dude.
ability. You were laughing and interrupting my conversation or
Oh,
my
sorry.
speech.
That's
But
unlucky. My bad,
I'm
dude.
sorry,
Keep going.
please
No, you're
stop
good.
cutting me off. You didn't
My
sound
fault.
like
My fault. Keep
anybody.
going, dude.
You're not
That's
rhetorical. Like
okay,
you're
bro.
a
Keep going.
fucking ass. But to finish what I was saying, the
Stretch your
God would
feeling.
have
Keep
to
going, dude.
obviously have metaphysical power. Like you're dead ass rambling.
No, you're
Respond.
good, bro. Good. Yeah, go for it. You done? Or are you done? Am I good? Am I interrupting you right now?
Do you think this looks
All right.
good?
I'm trying to clarify whether
Like
I'm
you
interrupting you,
sound
bro.
so
Like, am I
ass.
interrupting
Respond to
you?
the point.
Oh, is that your point? Okay, awesome. Yeah. So, for one, you didn't even finish your informal argument. So, that's the first problem.
I
So, just
did.
given what you told me, you did? What was premise three to establish the conclusion
Oh,
God
wait, I'm
exists?
sorry. I said I was going to give an informal lineup, meaning that informally I'm going to speak and verbally give the argument, like as in an elaboration. So it's the case that the argument was sent in chat, but I'm elaborating on the argument because that's not the full argument. You didn't send the full thing. Did you hear the elaboration? Can you repeat the premises that I gave?
Nice stutter. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you
you
just
stuttered
said that
multiple
you
times in the
didn't give
conversation.
you just said you didn't give a formal argument and therefore didn't give premises
I
and
didn't
then
say
in a
that.
response and then later at the end you said, "Did you check the premise that I gave you?" After telling me you didn't give me
Informal
premises because it's
arguments have
informal.
premises. Are you fucking retarded? Are you stupid?
I didn't say they didn't have premises.
Are you dumb? Nice stutter, by
Did
the
you
way.
hear that
But
come
yes,
out of my
informal
mouth?
arguments obviously
Did
have
you hear that
premises. I
come out
didn't
of
say I
my
wasn't
mouth?
giving a formal argument.
Did you hear that come out of my mouth? You
Can you
said
please
I'm giving the
respond?
informal lineup, and then you were like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I didn't give
informal
you
lineup
the
doesn't mean
account
that
you
there
asked
doesn't
for."
exist premises, you fucking retard. I asked you to name one of the premises I
So
gave to see if you can track it.
where did your boyfriend send this argument? That where can I go?
It
Look
was
at
in
it?
general retard. Like I
In
said it verbally,
general.
so I read it out. So
Yo,
I'm
can
sorry, you
your
wanted me
girl
to give a
DM me the
verbal.
argument?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you wanted me to give a verbal account, and then you couldn't even track the verbal account that I gave because I listed the first premises for the
Because you were
argument that was typed
rambling.
in chat as well.
Wait,
Like,
sorry. Which one's your girl? Wait, I'm trying to find the argument.
is there anybody in VC who actually
Oh,
finds that shit
thanks,
appealing?
Eddie. Thanks, bro.
Like, there's
Thanks.
no way there's anybody in VC who finds that shit appealing, my nigga. Like, what the fuck?
Okay, wait. We got the argument. Hold on. Sorry. Premise one: if the totality of contingent is actualized by contingent existence, then this contradicts the totality. and then premise to conclusion. Okay, so real quick question, Infinity. Do you think that the conclusion of your argument is that God exists?
Do you want to move on?
That's just a yes or no. Do you think the conclusion of your argument is God exists?
My argument correct. Yes, I already said this. The elaboration, yeah, 100%.
Really? So sorry. Does someone know something I don't? You
Nice
guys
stutter,
see
by the
the
way.
argument where you find God exists in the premises of the conclusion?
Yeah, so look, if you listen real quick and free to go, can
Do
you
you know
please mute him
something
while
I
I'm
don't, bro?
explaining this? Well, I'm
You know
free to go.
something
Can you
I
please
don't?
mute him while I explain this?
Wait,
Yeah, so Zenny, he
Yo,
obviously
where is
didn't
the
track. Careless, he
argument?
obviously didn't track.
wait,
Everybody heard him
wait,
not track
Where is
real
the
quick.
argument?
Everybody heard him
wait.
not track
Yo,
No,
real
no, I
quick.
heard your
No, free
ramble.
to go. No,
I
free
heard
to
your
go. We're
ramble.
not doing
calm
that.
down.
No, mute him.
Both of
Just
you,
mute
both
him.
of you,
Listen,
both of
Infinity,
you.
I
listen.
heard your ramble.
No,
You obviously didn't. Can you
I
repeat the
had to hear
ramble,
your
quote
ramble.
Oh
unquote?
my god.
It was a
Can you
ramble. I'm not
please
gonna
repeat
repeat
the
the ramble.
ramble real quick? Can you please
I'm not hopping on
repeat
the
the ramble?
ramble.
Yeah, you don't know, my nigga. You're stuttering.
Okay, so both of you calm down just for a second. Okay, so sorry, Divinity, but Infinity was speaking. Give him like a minute to explain whether the argument gets to the existence of God, and then Divinity will respond. Both of you, just for this turn, will go uninterrupted. So if someone interrupts, they get muted automatically. Both of you will go uninterrupted just for this one time. Okay.
Oh, that's not how it works. No, that's not how it works. Just keep him muted, okay? That's what we agreed to. I said you're going to
Okay.
apply talking stick if he
Sure.
starts to excessively interrupt. Moderate
Okay.
fairly, please. Now, look,
But
he's
you're
obviously
also
fucking
getting muted
confused.
when
Okay, you're
she's
done. Shut
speaking.
up talking. Obviously, that's what talking stick does.
Sure.
To finish
Go
what I
ahead.
was saying real quick, he's obviously confused. I don't know why he's trying to be rhetorical. He commented on me stuttering a single time. He then proceeded to stutter like 5 times in a row while trying to be rhetorical. Secondly speaking, he can't track anything at all. Is this what y'all call a high tier debater? I gave the argument informally speaking. Obviously, the argument was not finished in terms of it being in chat, which is why I elaborated on it informally speaking. I literally said, I'm going to elaborate, and this is going to be an informal lineup. I read the argument as in terms of its premises and the conclusion, the first conclusion at least, within chat, and I elaborated in VC verbally speaking. So it's the case that if the totality is actualized by the totality, then it follows, I apologize, if the totality is actualized by something that is a part of the totality, obviously there's a contradiction, because if it's a part of the totality, then it'll be actualizing itself, which cannot occur because it wouldn't exist. Obviously, if it has a feature, it exists. A feature within that specific instance would be the causal power in which is needed to instantiate the existence of itself, you fucking retard. Therefore, it has to be something which is not a part of the set, but if it's not a part of the set, it's dichotomous, it has to be necessary, and if it's necessary, that entails God's existence. Now, if you want to say that it's the case that the set is not actualized, but rather is not contingent, it follows that God also exists, metaphysically speaking. So both of these types of points justifies, at least in terms of instantiation, infers the fact that God exists, metaphysically speaking. So please respond to the point rather than going with some rhetorical ramble which doesn't actually address anything. You fucking idiot. You're not good. I'll mute him.
Oh, neat. Hey man,
Hi.
thanks for that, Infinity man. Thanks for that. Hey, so whenever I ask for an argument, I just expect that the argument I'd be given for in side chat or in general chat would be the argument with the conclusion that God exists. But instead, this guy decided to give me a singular conclusion. And then after doing that, he's like, I'm gonna give you an informal lineup. And of course, in the fucking informal lineup, which was extremely fucking hard to track, given that he was stuttering and stumbling all over himself, he decided to give me like 3 sub conclusions where eventually he got to the view that God exists. So I think what will actually happen is that if he wants to investigate the substance of this rigmarole, the substance of this fucking extremely mysterious line of inferences, which somehow generates the conclusion he wants to argue for, why don't we just go step by step and just write it down? I know you want to give an informal lineup, but in fact, you're a rambler. And, if you really want to investigate the inferences at play, how about you just, I'll help you formalize it actually. So that's okay. So right now I have the conclusion that the set contradicts the totality. And from there, I just want you to go ahead and validly derive the conclusion. It's not a matter of like, oh, you're failing to track whatever, whatever. You just have all these inferences, and of course, like you repeat it differently each and every single time. So, yeah, let's just start there, Infinity. So, just give the rest of the premises. Let's make them explicit, and yeah, let's see how you get to the conclusion.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
I bet.
Yeah, so obviously the reason, and please mute him free to go, I don't understand why he's still unmuted. Obviously the reason why you're calling it mysterious is because you can't track. You don't know what the fuck I'm saying, you fucking retard. Yes, I agree, I repeated it distinctly. The reason why I repeated it distinctly is because you couldn't understand it the first two times I gave it. So obviously if it's the case that you can't understand it the first 2 times I gave it, I'm going to repeat it distinctly so the retard can track. Yes, that's how we train and teach people. We repeat things and we explain it in simpler ways. Yes, I'm not going to give some complex argument to some fucking retard. So I'm breaking it down. Whenever you say that the argument has multiple sub conclusions, yes, multiple arguments have multiple premises, have multiple conclusions. That's how arguments work. They can have multiple conclusions or premises. So obviously you're not going to want to deny that, or else you're going to look really retarded. It's going to be a heavy blunder. It's the case that I want to point that out to show that what you're doing is irrelevant. The rhetorical shit is not working, my nigga. You pointing out how I'm stuttering while stuttering is not going to do anything for you, my nigga. That does not make you look good at all. Okay? So I'm going to repeat this real quick and then we can conclude. I don't care about explaining why, under your view, is going to be something which is logically valid, considering that there's obviously a logical connection between the premises and the conclusion. Obviously, if it's the case that the totality is something which actualizes itself, there's a contradiction because it follows, and I already explained why it's a contradiction. It follows that the totality must have some feature which entails it has semantical content, meaning it exists. However, if it's actualizing itself, that means it didn't exist prior to its actualization. So it goes from potency to actualization. While if it's the case that it's actualizing itself, that means it's already actualized because the feature must exist in an actualized way. It's metaphysically robust as well. So the conclusion is that God exists metaphysically speaking in a necessary way. If he exists metaphysically speaking in a necessary way, that establishes my position. So yes, there is an informal conclusion, at least respective to the argument, that justifies my position, which is that God exists. Respond to the argument. Stop trying to be rhetorical. You're not doing anything. Like, respond to the argument. Nobody in chat can name a single point that you gave that justifies my argument being false. Now, if you want to type it out formally, that's completely fine for you because I understand that that's the script. That's the script that Goons donated to you because you're obviously a failing debater. You're a mistake. You're a experiment. My nigga, you suck, okay? So please, 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 please type out the argument if you need to do that. And I can explain every single part that you want me to explain. But I'm not going to walk you through it in a way in which makes you look retarded because I want to be charitable. I want to be nice to you, okay?
Are you done, bro?
Yo.
All right.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I don't know if the Cricket Wireless Tower was hit by an interhood ballistic missile during my last speech, but I actually asked for a formal argument precisely because the inferences and sub-conclusions that he's, quote, informally lining up for me are obviously fucking results of gibberish and have no logical semblance at all. And in response to me asking for that, this guy spent 60% of his speech just explaining to me how I'm retarded and I'm like posturing about meta. And the entirety of what I did was avoid that, just ask for substance. Um, yeah, I mean, he goes, I don't care to explain how it's logically valid under your view. That's a quote from him. And then what does he do? He proceeds to informally line up the conclusion again. Of course, another quote, distinctful lineup. So, I mean, you see how he's like, oh, let's go ahead and move to conclusions. How are you already begging to run away from just giving your argument in a clear and explicit way? You're like allergic to fucking exposing the actual reasoning behind what you're saying. Because through your thick and obtuse accent and through all the fucking rigmarole and the ramble, you know what you're saying is extremely fucking retarded. So let's just put that past us. And let's go ahead and I'm asking you another time. Please don't dodge again. Just please explicitly line up formally. Give me a formal lineup of the conclusion.
Is that it, bro?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
Rhetoric. So he understands what happened last time we debated. He got shit on rhetorically, argumentatively, and obviously his knowledge was something which was not relevant to the debate, considering his performance. So it's the case that now he's trying to get back on me by being rhetorical, even though he's losing badly. Nobody competent thinks you're winning. There was a single response to the argument. And just to clarify, everybody, him calling my points ramble is a disguise for just saying he couldn't track them or respond to them. Yes, just to be clear, informal arguments can be logically valid. I don't know why you tried to point that out. Yes, informal arguments can be logically valid. What you're saying currently, which was a response to me saying, I don't care to explain how it's logically valid within your view or within your perspective. Just to clarify, what I was saying is you requiring a logically valid argument to fit your script so you can come up with a response which is retarded directly after is something that I'm not going to abide by. I don't care about your shitty ass script. Now, if you want to list the premises out and then explain why it defers the conclusion that I talked about, you can do that. But I'm not going to type out the argument for you just so you can fucking track. I just told you I'm not going to walk with you and hold your hand through this conversation. I'm not going to make you look retarded, even more so than you're already doing, you fucking idiot, okay? So I gave the argument, I gave the premises, I gave the conclusion. Everything so far justifies the position that I have for God's existence. It's the case that you haven't given actual response to his existence rather than just commenting on it being retarded. And yes, the reason why my entire point is me calling you retarded is because my argument's justification displays that you are autistic. There hasn't been a single point in which you gave, evidentially speaking, that justifies the conclusion is false or why the argument is invalid. Justify that the argument is invalid. You fucking idiot. There's logical
I
connectiveness between all of the premises and the conclusion. Like, this is so stupid.
are you done?
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, guys. So, surprise to literally nobody, did I get a formal argument presented in that most recent speech? No, it was a lot of explaining why he's not going to do that, while simultaneously saying that the informal lineup was valid and logically connected in all the right ways. But there seems to be three distinct informal, distinctful, that was it, distinctful lineups on the table that have not been demonstrated to be that way. I mean, like, I don't know what exactly he wants me to do here. If you can't give me an argument, I can't explain to you why it's invalid because you haven't presented a formally valid argument. There's no such thing as informal validity. I mean, maybe they teach that in hood logic textbooks. I don't know what inference rule is used in there, but yeah, I would just really like this argument formally. There's not much more I can say. There's a lot of gish galloping, a lot of commentary about rhetoric. I mean, I'm not doing that. I just want the argument, and he's crashing the fuck out and just like desperately trying to evade the fact that he's refusing to give explicitly what exactly the argument is. And he's framing it as like, oh, I'm not going to be charitable. I'm not going to be charitable. I'm not going to do charity. It's like, um, you're just not giving an argument for the claim you want to argue for, dude. I don't know what to say.
Are you done, man?
Yeah, bro.
I thanks. Infinity.
Yeah, okay. Look, just to be clear, real quick, when I say I'm not giving a formal argument, I'm talking about in terms of its wording. You fucking retard. So if you really, 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 really want me to be charitable because you can't understand basic things, I can actually type the formal argument. But it's kind of ironic considering that initially when we came into the VC, you told me to give it verbally speaking. So now that you want it typed out rather than just me verbally giving it or delivering it, it just seems like you're being retarded. You can't track what's going on. So I'm gonna type it out. Do not unmute him until I'm done typing it out. Zini, where did you send the argument last? Check DMs. Okay.
Until he's doing that, how have y'all been, man? We got. That's why Gizbob, Shinra, Sama, Midtop, and those people are on the stage, man.
Yo, freaky, shut the fuck up, bitch.
Anyways, how have you been?
Okay. So
Did you type it out?
this is what we're gonna do. Yes, this is what we're gonna do. To make you look stupid, this is, and look at VC chat, everybody. This is the typed out argument. Now you might notice something. I didn't change anything about the argument. And why is that? It's because the elaboration I gave was just clarity for the justification of the premises. And then talking about some alternative position which a retard can give and how that doesn't actually instantiate the non-existence of God, but rather it benefits the position. So just to clarify, conclusion two, which is therefore there must be something non-contingent to actualize the totality. Obviously, that non-contingent being is going to be God. And that's actually the second part of the argument I was talking about initially speaking. So, and he sent this in general originally. But what would your response be to that, Divinity? And by the way, just to clarify once again, there's a difference between validity, logical validity, and formal validity. It's the case that's going to be valid while not being formally valid. It can be valid without being logically valid while being formally valid. There's like just a lot of stuff. Respond though.
Alright. Here we go, Twim.
Oh, am I unmuted? Awesome. Okay. Okay. Let's just run through the complete argument now that it's all laid out. If the totality of contingents is actualized by a contingent existence, then this contradicts the totality. Okay, well, is this referring to a proposition, or is this referring to the set? Because the set presumably isn't a proposition which contradicts, right? A contradicting is a feature of a proposition specifically in relation to another proposition. All right, let's see. The totality of contingents is actualized by contingents. Okay, let's see the rest of this argument. If this contradicts the totality, then there must be something non-contingent to the totality. Therefore, wait. What was premise for? Wait. This does contradict the totality. Okay, redundant premise, but it's fine. Therefore, there must exist something non-contingent. Okay. Yeah, actually, I want Infinity to clarify what exactly is this referring to? Is this referring to a proposition?
Okay, I'm on mute him. Infinity,
I'll be answering all questions when it's my turn to speak. So if he concedes the rest of his time, then I'll respond to the question.
Yeah, I just want an answer to the one question I just
Oh,
asked.
that's completely fine. I want you to
Back
shut
to-
up, Free. Can you please mute him?
You don't want to give me an answer to my
wait,
question?
real quick.
I
before
will
you do
answer
that,
your question
Divinity,
directly as soon as I start
Just
speaking.
finish my question.
Divinity, do you?
That's
do
fine. I know what you
concede
want,
the
and I
rest
want
of
you to
your-
die.
Wait, real quick, Infinity. Divinity, do you concede the rest of your talking time?
Yeah, I just need an answer to my question.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, it went from you want to get to you needing it. If you needed to win, that's kind of sad on your end. But just to clarify, propositions are referential. So it's the case that it's referencing some word, which is totality. And obviously, totality isn't something which obviously doesn't exist in terms of what it's describing, at least I apologize. So the totality is just a word in which describes the collection of all entities a part of the totality, or in other words, the set. So we're talking about some inclusive domain that has all apples, for example. We can say the totality of apples. It's not like the apples are within a specific room, like one room where there's a collection of apples. That's just a word in which describes all apples within existence. So it's the case that when we say that this is a contradiction, we're saying hypothetically speaking, if it were to follow, that what the proposition is referencing corresponds to reality or is an accurate depiction of reality, it would infer some contradiction. And then when you say that P4 is redundant, no, it's not. We have to put it on the table for retards like you who can interpret basic arguments. So it says P3, if this contradicts the totality, then there must be something non-contingent to actualize the totality. It does contradict the totality because the totality cannot have a member in which actualizes itself because the member is a part of the totality. And then the conclusion is simply that, therefore, there must be something non-contingent to actualize the totality, which is God. He metaphysically exists, necessarily speaking. That's the conclusion that I would like to reach. Respond to the argument. Explain why it's bad. You're losing to this shitty ass argument. Go.
I. Let's go.
Oh, my back. Oh, neat. Yeah. Okay. Well, first thing, right? The argument assumes that the set of contingents are actualized. And presumably the actualization is a kind of temporal successive notion of actualization, like a causal notion. And so what I actually want an argument for is an argument for the implicit assumption of the argument, which is that the total set of contingents are in fact actualized as opposed to just brutally existent. I want an argument for that premise.
Okay. I don't know. Is that the rest? Are you done with like the whole talking time?
Well, yeah, it's a question. I need him to provide an argument for the implicit premise of the argument.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, sure. But then you would have to concede the rest of talking time. But that's fine.
One, that wasn't a question. You asked for something that's not a question. All right, I apologize. You said that you need me to do this thing. That's not a question. You fucking retard. Two, free to go. Stop being a retarded moderator, please. He stopped talking for 30 seconds. He obviously is fucking done speaking. Like, please stop being stupid. Stop wasting time. Like, anyways, just to clarify real quick, I need an argument as to why.
Sure.
Anyways, I need an argument as to why brute facts can exist, contingently speaking. I don't know. I don't even know what that means there. If it's the case that this thing is not actualized in a way in which makes it a part of the non-dichotomy, it's the case that it has to be necessary. Therefore, my position is justified. And then secondly speaking, the justification as to why these contingent things are actualized in the way that I'm talking about in terms of their explanation is it follows analytically speaking. So if it follows analytically speaking that there must be some modal machinery in which the contingent thing is relying on, that modal machinery will be instantiated from God's existence. All the contingency means is some feature in which allows the exhaustion to fail to exist. So if you have the exhaustion to fail to exist, that means that there's something on which you're ontologically dependent on. And I'm saying that that's going to be the machinery in which is within a specific world. That machinery gives you the power to exist. That's why you're contingent, analytically speaking. So if it follows that these contingent things are something in which are not contingent, then they are necessary, dichotomously speaking. And if you were to say that, well, they don't have to be contingent in terms of actualization, I'm just talking about God's necessity. So even if it's just God sustaining the existence of these entities, it follows that if these entities exist as a totality, they exist as a totality in every single possible world, meaning God, who is metaphysically robust, exists necessarily speaking. So that's going to be the justification for the position that I gave. Can you please respond and explain why, one, the argument is bad, which you've yet to do, and two, explain why brute contingencies can exist? I'll need the argument for that rather than it just being some brute necessity, which I'm completely fine for or fine with.
I bet. You done?
Yeah.
It's the application of that hood logic, man. I mean, look, I asked this guy for a supplementary argument for the implicit premise, and this guy immediately fucking recognizing that he obviously doesn't have an answer to that, decided to immediately flip them and go, yeah, you actually need to prove the possibility of the existence of a brute contingency, which of course is what? It's flipping the requirement of giving the argument on the proposition that those things can't exist because the argument presupposes that they don't. Understand, I didn't posit that it was the case that they operate that way. I didn't provide a counter hypothesis or anything. Ask for an argument which he has to provide, given that he's implicitly assuming that they're impossible. So asking me to establish their possibility is just another way of trying to escape your burden, just proving that it is impossible. Now, when you talked about analytic machinery for contingency, I mean that's all. Number one, is tangential because it has nothing to do with the argument you're providing, and two is gibberish. So look, if that actually becomes a point of contention after you're able to give me an argument, only after you're able to give me an argument for the implicit premise of what you said, then I'll be more than happy to investigate that. But yeah, so where you're at right now is you need to give me an argument establishing why it must be the case that brute contingencies are impossible, because that's a requirement of your view.
You done, ma'am?
Yep.
Okay, twin. Here you go, Infinity.
Look, Hermes, like I'm really contemplating whether or not I should repeat the argument to give this guy a second chance because he's really autistic. Let me just clarify a few things real quick. The analytical machinery and the modal machinery are two different things, you fucking autist. So the machinery I was talking about was modal. It was talking about modality, not analyticity, you fucking idiot. The analyticity was towards a distinct point, which hopefully you wouldn't disagree with. And I'm not going to repeat it. We're going to move on from this, okay? And no, it's not tangent. You're just autistic, okay? And then just to clarify for this point that I brung up before, there's types of causation. So you can have explanatory causation, and then you can talk about actualization from potency. Those are two different things, and I explained how both fit under my position. We can move on. I'm not repeating my argument for you. Thank you, Hermes. Thank you for letting me know that I shouldn't repeat my argument for this retard. We're moving on. You're autistic. You fucking shit can.
Bro, someone muted me, bro. Are you done?
Yeah, can we please move on? Like, this is so autistic.
Yeah.
Sorry if you want to say anything else. But
Anna,
Divinity,
Anna,
you want to
yeah,
add
yeah,
something?
Anna, yeah, bro. So first thing is analyticity is Look, I can't even like reproduce the fucking retarded way this guy pronounced analyticity. I can't even make my fucking mouth conjure the noise he made. But it's analyticity. Next time you decide to fucking say some retarded shit about it. Secondly, is that just telling me that there's two types of causation. Number one, didn't even exhaust the list. Just telling me that there's two types of causation doesn't answer the demand for the argument that you have to give. Like, I don't know why you fucking do this thing where after you're pressed to for an argument, which you have to provide, given that you made a fucking statement, you then pretend as if you answer the fucking question. You pretend as if you give an argument for it, and then you say, "Oh yeah, I don't have to give an argument for it," and then proceed to give an informal, incoherent fucking retard ramble, and then act as if after you've been pressed on, "Hey, that wasn't an argument." You're like, "Yeah, bro, I gave you the answer." After fucking vehemently opening up, being like, "Yeah, bro, I'm not gonna give you an answer to my fucking this requirement." So, yeah, dude, look, you didn't in fact give me an argument for the proposition. Explaining that there's two types of causality doesn't do anything. That doesn't tell me why it's the case that they had to have been actualized in temporal succession. So what you need to do is you need to commit. You need to commit to an argument, and you need to provide the argument in your next speech, or else you'd be dodging like the piece of shit that you have been the entire conversation. So just give me an argument.
And
Your voice is
Steven,
shaking
you
while you're trying to
probably
be
should.
rhetorical. You actually sound. I'm sorry, Free. Please mute your mic. I wasn't
Okay,
done
yes.
speaking. Thank you. Unmute him as. Yeah, thank you. So one, your voice is shaking while you're trying to be rhetorical. Stop trying to do that. You obviously are nervous. Two, I don't care about the pronunciation. That's irrelevant to the argument. Once again, you're trying to be rhetorical rather than respond to the substance, which is all y'all do. Last time I rhetorically bitched you, and people were saying that, well, you weren't engaging in the substance. You weren't engaging in the substance. So what am I doing currently? I'm on mobile. I'm not yelling at you. I'm speaking clearly, calmly. I'm not going to rhetorically bitch you. I'm not going to comment on your shitty ass rhetoric that much or your shitty ass responses that much, rather than just focusing on the substance. Okay. Now, once again, I listed examples of causation. I never said that that's exhausting the list. I never said I was exhaustive of the list. You fucking retard. I just gave examples. And you saying that the examples don't help my point in terms of giving an actual argument, they weren't meant to be something which talks about giving an actual argument. They were correlated to the argument I gave originally, which I'm not going to repeat. We're going to move on from this, you fucking idiot, okay? So, one, don't need to exhaust the list. Two, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to the justification of my position. And three, you didn't respond to anything at all. So let's conclude. We can move on. Stop trying to elongate it. You don't know what you're doing, my nigga. When it comes to the temporal causation relative to actualization, I already gave a response to that. That doesn't need to be something which is necessary in terms of justifying my conclusion that God exists.
Are you done, bro?
Yes.
Alright. So we should probably also move to closing soon, but
Yeah, bro.
yeah.
Maybe soon, but yeah, this guy, like, exactly as I fucking foretold. I'm somewhat of a prophet. This guy's like, I'm talking exclusively about substance. I'm not going to talk about meta. I'm not going to talk about rhetoric. You know, all the fucking while doing the exact thing he's saying he's not doing. I mean, it's like really fucking, really, really cheeky dude. Nice one on me, man. Look, what did you say? Retarded counter number one. You said that the examples of causality weren't meant to help give you the argument, but then treated the examples of causality when you gave them to be answers to the demand for the argument. So that's already something fucking retarded that you said. Then you also said that giving an account of why exactly they had to have been actualized is not necessary to your argument, which is a new thing. Now you said it. What you originally treated as if it wasn't tangential. You said, "Oh yeah, like I'll give you this, and here's all the answers to the presupposition," and then you're like, "Oh, it's not even relevant to the argument." Something which you provided literally fucking zero argument for. So there's another fucking retarded claim. You know, I have the burden of trying to substantiate. Um, yeah, dude. I mean, you're desperately trying to move to closing. Why do we think that is? Probably because you know every single time I investigate one of the claims you actually make, you fucking have no idea what to do, and you fucking throw your hands in the air and do a fucking circus and dance for everybody here to try to obfuscate away from the fact that you can't provide a fucking argument for any of the things you say, and that's why you utter your way through fucking modus pendulum and give fucking informal lineups for things that make no fucking sense at all, and then complain about, oh well, I'm not going to put it in your logically valid analysis. Yeah, because you fucking can do it. Um, yeah, dude. I mean, maybe closing is for you, bro. We can reschedule that. That's okay.
Okay. Wait, what the fuck? Nigga, I'm the mod. Chill out. Man.
Yeah, I don't know who
Okay.
muted me after that, but two, I never said I wasn't going to talk about meta. So that's obviously one retarded response that you gave. Two, you fucking idiot. Obviously, we're going to have to get some meta analysis and talk about the meta analysis if you're autistic and you can't understand basic things. Three is clarity of the argument. It's not supposed to be supplementary when it comes to delivering the argument. That's the difference. So it's the case that I treated it as some supplementary point for the argument in terms of clarity so it can help you understand the argument, but that's irrelevant to me delivering the argument. It being supplementary to the delivery of the argument and it being supplementary to the argument itself are two different things, you fucking retard. Now, yes, I brought that up initially. I've been brought that up. You just didn't track it. You didn't respond. We can move on, you fucking retard. And just to be clear real quick, it's the case that the totality doesn't have to be talking about, I apologize, the totality in terms of numbers does not have to be large. It doesn't have to be large in terms of numbers when it comes to its quantification over a set. But we can move on. I'll explain the argument in closings because obviously you're stupid. You don't know what's going on.
Okay. Can we move to closings, Divinity?
Yeah, man. Infinity, you can have the first closing duel.
Oh no, you can't because I was just speaking. Like you said, I didn't give an argument which was formally valid. I apologize, logically valid. I gave it in chat. You said I couldn't do it even though it's in chat. If you have an issue with it being logically valid, then obviously you're autistic, and we can talk about that later on. But I don't really care to teach you anymore. The reason why I want to conclude is because you couldn't track the first points that I gave, so I don't trust you to track anything else that I gave. I don't really want to give closings first. I just want to say that real quick. But go ahead and respond in terms of your
Alright.
closings.
Divinity,
Yeah, bro.
you're
You.
gonna go for first closing,
I mean,
and Infinity gonna go second.
What do you mean, brother? This Was that like? Was that not his closing? Am I tripping?
No. He said he's gonna go after you.
Nah, Infinity, man. It's all you, bro. You can have the closing, man.
Oh, no. The
Bro.
reason why I'm not giving my closing, please don't interrupt me. You didn't interrupt him. The reason why I'm not giving my closings first is because there's obviously like multiple you didn't respond to. And what you're going to do is in your closings, you're going to try to respond to them because you realize that you failed to track everything like you did against literally every debater that you debated. Like, for example, repelling. You lost to an Indian retard. You obviously suck. But go ahead, give your closings. I'll give my closings after. Go ahead.
Hey, man, you're good to close, bro. You're good to close, bro. It's okay.
Bro, can you
Okay, so he's scared to close.
bro? Like,
Okay, we're done.
first?
Okay, he doesn't want to close. He's obviously scared.
It's okay, bro. You're good to close, bro. You're good to close.
Nani, can you please make a poll? Even though obviously, Hyde is going to go to a
You don't
syndicate
want to
server and tell
close.
people
You
to
don't
play
want to
polls.
close. You don't want to
I'm
close.
sorry, why is he interrupting me? Nani, I'm sorry, why is he interrupting me? I'm sorry, free to go. Why is he allowed to interrupt me?
You don't know why.
I'm sorry, free to go. Why is he allowed? Thank you. So, one, Nani, make a poll, even though we already know what Hyde is going to do. No, make a poll and announcements for who won. He obviously he's gonna get Hyde to announce in a shitty ass server to inflate the polls like he always does because Hyde is a low tier and lost to Gizbob. And Gyro. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Why did y'all let this random dude up? Can y'all please let him down? I'm sorry. Can y'all please let him down? I'm sorry. Thank you. And can y'all please take his perms for interrupting the debate? But yeah, Nani, make a poll.
What the fuck? Who dragged down Divinity? Who dragged down Infinity? The fuck? Yo, this gotta be a troll.
Oh,
Wait,
Need, I'm
where's
back.
Infinity?
So are we not doing closing, or I mean, if he needs
Who
me to go
timed out
first, I'll
Infinity?
go first. Guys, if he needs
timed
me to
out
go
Infinity?
first, I guess I'll go first. Oh, is he gone?
Okay, so
Dude, did his
Divinity,
girlfriend give him a call?
you lost the polls. You have to go. You have to go first, man. I'm so sorry.
Fuck. Okay.
Yo,
that's fine.
shout out to Infinity.
Holy
Bro,
shit, is that his
somebody
boyfriend?
untime out Infinity. How do I do it? Oh, okay.
Guys,
he's untimed out.
stop perma abusing Infinity, guys. Come on, what are we doing? Come on, guys, stop perma
Like
abusing.
one, okay, I ain't gonna lie. Like Ian, take away perms, take away Hyde's perms. Like he's so butthurt that he lost to Gyro and tried to slip in a point against Gizbob and still got butt fucked, my nigga. Take away Hyde's perms. Like he's so ass.
Two
I'm
things
sorry,
you
why is he up
actually
in the
don't
VC?
think.
Can y'all
Why is he
please
up?
take? Wait, by the way. Oh wait, hold on. You can ask Future. By the way, I said that you won.
Oh my god, bro, what the hell are we doing?
Take Heist perms.
Like, what are we doing? I'm dead ass about to leave the server if y'all don't take his perms. He doesn't do anything for the server. Two, just to
Uh-oh.
clarify, you can ask Future. I believe.
Oh man, finally.
Yo, holy fuck. Not
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm dead ass about to leave. Future, Ian, Oshi, like. And Gizbob. I apologize. You lost to Gizbob and you lost to Gyro. I said that you beat Gizbob on a single points. I did not say you won the entire debate. You can ask Future. You obviously lost to Gizbob. No diff for the first point. You only won because you slipped something in, which I was expressed in both chat and in VC. You fucking suck and you're a low tier.
Yeah,
Nobody actually thinks you're good. Like,
Yeah,
we can
why
debate
do
right now. Hey,
you-
Hyde, let's debate. Hey, Hyde, let's debate. Hold on, no. Hey, free to go. Wait, chill. So everybody sees this, right? He was just on stage. He can come on stage. He can talk. Let's debate right now, Hyde. You've been ducking me for the last like 2 years. You suck. Nobody actually thinks you're good. Let's debate. You lost to Gyro, no diff. Let's debate, Hyde. Divinity, would you like to give your closing before me? Hold on, free, chill. Would you like to give your closing before me and Hyde debate? Divinity, I don't want to rob you of your closing real quick. I know, but nobody thinks that Hyde is better
I'll
than
give
me.
you I'll give a closing. You ready? You wanna free to bloat if you wanna go ahead and mute this guy?
Go.
Neat. Yeah, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for sitting through that. So what do we see today? We saw that Infinity, amped by his transgender girlfriend, decided to deliver one of the worst arguments ever uttered in human history. Now, this informal lineup, which was given, it was really fucking bad. After there was a couple 20-minute period where he just refused to formally line it up for us because obviously the expounding and hood logic was sufficient according to him. After he was fucking pressed on this and it became apparent that he had no fucking clue how to explicate his view in a rational, logical, coherent manner, he eventually was like, I guess I'll give it. I guess I'll give the rest of the argument, and then typed it up in chat, right? So then after we fucking put these disfragmented, broken fucking arguments back together, what did we see? We saw, oh, wait, there's this little implicit premise about the actualization of the totality of the contingents, in which I then asked, well, what's the argument for that? And what did this fucking weaselly coward do? Well, he flipped the burden of proof, was like, you got to prove the impossibility of brute contingents, which, of course, I don't have to fucking do. Why? Because I didn't make an affirmative claim on the matter, right? And in fact, this is just an attempt for him to dodge away from what he has to provide, which is the argument that, in fact, that cannot be the case because it's supposed to be a fucking deduction. Like I said, if you guys have ever used a logical system that wasn't originated in the O block, it wasn't originated in the fucking depths of linear lane, then you would know that you have to, in fact, provide arguments for the things that you claim. And that's not what Infinity did here. He gallivanted the entire time. He was a fucking jester for each and every single person in the audience. And yeah, I mean, simple sugar. This happens every single time Infinity debates. He tries to get all these jabs in, tries to get really rhetorical, but instead he hops on the railroad ramble coaster and wastes everyone's time. So yeah, man, dude, I'm really excited to see the debate between Infinity and High Cakemouth. But yeah, Infinity got blown the fuck out. Maybe he can set his record straight for the rest of the day. Yeah, awesome.
I bet Infinity, then you go. And
Yeah, so Shinra, I know that you're dick riding, but he's made that same O block hood rhetoric joke, whatever hood logic joke in every single debate that he's had against a black person because he stole it from goons and is Mason. They're actual good debaters, Divinity. You're not on their level. You lost to Repellent. You lost to me 4 times now, okay? 4 times and counting. We're going to debate again. I'm going to slam you later on, okay? Now, just to close real quick, he was obviously not tracking when it comes to actualization. That's just talking about being birthed from some causal power, okay? So that may be talking about explanation or that may be talking about reason when it comes to your existence. Those are 2 separate categories, obviously speaking. So if it follows that it's not just talking about some temporal potency to actualization point, I apologize, potency to actualization point in terms of your mode of existence, it's obviously the case that the premise still follows if one I talked about is analyticity, and yes, I'm going to use that word again, Divinity. It's analyticity relative to why contingencies must exist in that specific way. If you grant contingencies do exist, and it's the case that even if they aren't actualized in terms of the temporal points or in terms of their temporal status, they're still reliant on something. They're ontologically dependent on something. And if it follows that they're not ontologically dependent on something, they must exist necessarily speaking, given the dichotomy. And if they exist metaphysically necessarily speaking, then it's the case that God exists. So it's either one, the case that these things are not contingent, or I apologize, the totality, which is going to be the instantiator of the members, is going to be something which is non-contingent, in other words, necessary, or 2, it's the case the thing in which instantiates the totality itself is going to be something which is necessary. In other words, God. So yes, if we look at the premise in which you call redundant, and then pick it apart with all these retarded alternatives, there's still instantiation for God's existence, metaphysically speaking. So yes, God exists in either view that we're talking about, because it's either the case that these contingent things, analytically speaking, are ontologically dependent on the modal machinery, meaning that in every single possible world in which they exist, since they can fail to exist, it's going to be the case that there's some machinery, modally speaking, in which instantiates their capacity to exist. God exists. Or it's the case that if we're talking about actualization in terms of from potency to actualization, in terms of its temporal sense, it's the case that God actualized them temporally speaking, meaning that there exists God. And then finally speaking, if it's the case that they're not actualized and there isn't a reason for their existence, and it's just the case that we're not talking about a contingent being, then economically speaking, God would exist. So under all these retarded ass fucking hypotheticals or alternatives, it's the case that God exists, okay? Yes, it's very simple. Now, y'all can stop the recording, hide, come up and debate me, unless you're going to duck like you always do. Like you suck.
are we done?
Good debate, Divinity, man. All right, next.